The hanging that went down in history as India's first judicial murder, a case where a sinister conspiracy was hatched in the name of justice. And the man who set out to expose the corrupt British Governor General Warren Hastings was sent to the gallows. A king who dared to expose British lies only to find himself dragged to his death. This wasn't a battlefield, it was a British courtroom, and the victim was an Indian Brahmin who dared to speak the truth, Raja Nandakumar. Let's uncover the full story of that sham trial and of the true king whose silence became the British government's most pressing need. Who was Raja Nandakumar and what was the scam involving India's first Governor General that led to Nandakumar's execution? You will learn the entire story in this video, so be sure to watch until the end. When we talk about the first hanging in Indian history, the question can be confusing because it depends on which first we mean. Was it the first legal hanging of an Indian under British rule, the first martyrdom of a revolutionary during the freedom struggle, or the first hanging in independent India? For example, when we discuss freedom fighters, Khudiram Bose usually comes to the mind. He was only 18 when he was hanged on August 11, 1908. Meanwhile, Mangal Pandey, the hero of the 1857 uprising, was hanged in Barakpur cantonment on April 8, 1857. And if we look at independent India, Nathuram Godse and Narayan Apte were executed on November 15, 1949 for the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi. But when it comes to the first Indian executed after a trial by a British court, one name stands out, Maharaja Nandakumar. He was hanged on August 5, 1775. Historians label this incident India's first judicial murder because the legal system was weaponized to execute a man who was not judged fairly. Therefore, this story is a tale of the rivalry between Warren Hastings and Maharaja Nandakumar, a story of corruption and injustice committed in the name of law. In the mid 18th century, the British East India Company was gradually establishing its foothold in India. The Battle of Plassey in 1757 became a major turning point. In this battle, the British army led by Robert Clive defeated Sirajud-Dowlah, the Nawab of Bengal. This victory was made possible by the betrayal of Mir Jafar, Sirajud-Dowlah's commander, who conspired with Clive to depose the Nawab. In reward for this betrayal, the British appointed Mir Jafar as the Nawab of Bengal. Eventually, Mir Jafar was no longer useful to the British, so he was removed and Mir Qasim was installed as Nawab. However, when Mir Qasim challenged British authority, it led to the Battle of Buxar. Following this conflict, both Mir Qasim and Mir Jafar died by 1765. After Zafar's death, his wife Munni Begum attempted to seize power. To secure Robert Clive's support, she gave him 5 lakh rupees, a sum worth billions today, hoping her sons would inherit the throne. This was a time when such bribes were very common. Corruption was rampant within the company, but bribes of this scale were being exchanged for the first time. It was in this environment that Warren Hastings entered the picture. He began his career as a clerk, arriving in Kolkata in 1750. Due to his shrewdness, he rose through the ranks, becoming Governor General of Bengal in 1772 and Bengal's first Governor General in 1774. Hastings' tenure symbolized centralization of British rule. Although private trade and gifts were officially prohibited for the officials, a golden age of corruption had begun. The rot ran deep and its influence reached Warren Hastings himself. However, there was one man keeping a close watch on him, Maharaja Nandakumar. Maharaja Nandakumar was an influential Hindu Brahmin landowner. In 1764, the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II bestowed the title Maharaja upon him. Nandakumar served the Nawab of Bengal in vital roles, including revenue collector, giving him a deep understanding of British administration. He possessed considerable social influence and was known as a generous intellectual. It is said that he once fed 1 lakh people. Nandakumar keenly observed the British expanding tactics and looting policies. When Mir Jafar became Nawab again, Nandakumar served as Diwan, gaining an intimate view of the company's internal corruption. Having witnessed bribery and extortion firsthand, he decided to speak out against injustice. This earned him the wrath of many British officials, especially Warren Hastings. The conflict exploded in 1775 when Nandakumar accused Hastings of taking bribes. Hastings had been Governor General for only 2 years, so this allegation caused a major stir. Nandakumar claimed Hastings had taken 3.5 lakh rupees from Munni Begum to make her son Mubarak Uddaulah the guardian of Bengal. When Nandakumar presented these allegations before the Calcutta Council, 3 of the 4 council members turned against Hastings. Only Barwell supported him. The council found Hastings guilty and imposed a fine of 3,54,105 rupees. For Hastings, this was a grave insult, being accused by a man the British considered the lowest of humanity. Enraged, he decided to seek revenge. This desire for revenge birthed a conspiracy leading to India's first judicial murder. Hastings manipulated the judicial system established under the Regulating Act of 1773. Under this act, a Supreme Court was established at Fort William, Calcutta in 1774, supposedly to ensure impartial justice. The first Chief Justice was Sir Elijah Impey, Hastings' close childhood friend. Remember this. Historians like Lord Macaulay described Impey as a corrupt and wicked judge. Hastings saw his chance here. On April 19, 1775, a man named Kamaluddin accused Nandakumar of coercion. When the case reached the Supreme Court, another charge was filed. Lawyer Mohan Prasad alleged that Nandakumar had forged a document regarding a debt involving a deceased man named Balki Das. On May 6, 1775, Nandakumar was arrested for forgery. Interestingly, this case had previously been dismissed for lack of evidence. A major legal debate arose. Did forgery even warrant capital punishment? Hindu and Muslim laws did not prescribe the death penalty for forgery. Many experts believe the crime he was convicted of was not a capital offense in India, but Hastings was determined to destroy him. The trial lasted 8 days. The court sat day and night without breaks. Despite tensions between Hastings and the council, Nandakumar was trapped. His lawyer petitioned the Supreme Court, but the plea was rejected. An appeal to the king in council in England was also blocked. It was clear that Hastings had rigged the process. On July 16, 1775, Justice Impey summarized the case and the jury found Nandakumar guilty. They sentenced him to the death under the British Act of 1729, a law applicable in London, not in India. This was a blatant misuse of foreign laws to exact personal revenge. On the morning of August 5, 1775 at 8 am, Maharaja Nandakumar was hanged at Kuli Bazar near Fort William. The well where he was hanged still stands in Kolkata as a grim reminder. This case became known as India's Black Case. It exposed the arbitrary and flawed nature of the British justice. Historians believe the arrogance of power led to the execution of an innocent man. Even British figures like Edmund Burke criticized Hastings and Macaulay, called Impey a briber. Supporters of Hastings claimed the conviction was coincidental, but given his friendship with Impey, few believed this. The central question remains, did the Supreme Court even have jurisdiction, and did the English Forgery Act apply to India? Now, this was not the only stain on Hastings' rule. He also deposed Raja Chat Singh of Banaras. Despite a 1775 agreement fixing the tax at 2.2 million rupees, Hastings arbitrarily demanded an extra 5 lakh rupees annually from 1778 to 1780. He pressured the Raja until he was financially ruined and dethroned. Hastings even extorted money from the Begums of Awadh. The bottom line is, Hastings was a clever, money-hungry administrator who could not tolerate defiance from an Indian. As Macaulay wrote, the rule of justice and the sentiments of humanity meant nothing to him if they stood in the way of his interest. His only principle was, might is right. His rule brought misery, devastation, and famine to Bengal and Awadh. As Philip Francis noted, India was once prosperous, but under Hastings, it faced beggary and ruin. So this was the story of the first judicial murder of India. Please like the video and share it to your friends to know the cruelty of the British. And also subscribe this channel for the more updates. Thank you.